My girlfriend told me if you can't handle my lifestyle, go home before her influencer friends. So I walked away, and what happened next destroyed her empire. When I first met Bianca, I thought I hit the jackpot. She was one of those people who could walk into a room and make everyone think the air got lighter. Big smile, loud laugh, that kind of main character energy. I'm Ashton, 34, graphic designer, the guy who makes logos and ad campaigns for mid-size companies. My life was simple. I worked, surfed when I could, kept to myself. Then she showed up at a friend's launch party talking about her next content trip, and somehow I got pulled into her orbit. We clicked fast. She liked that I was creative, but didn't compete with her spotlight. I liked that she seemed driven, confident, spontaneous. First few months felt like a movie, road trips, beach photos, little adventures. She'd grab my hand in public and I'd hear her whisper, "You're my calm." I didn't realize then that calm actually meant prop. At first, her influencer stuff was just background noise. She'd post photos of food before eating it, or stop mid-hike to get the perfect thinking by the cliff shot. A few lifestyle blogs had even run mini features on her. One of them called her the next big face of travel culture. Annoying, yeah, but harmless. I'd tease her about it. "You care more about digits than dinners," I told her once when she ignored her plate to watch her follower count refresh. She laughed, said, "You're just jealous the internet doesn't love your fonts like it loves my face." I shrugged and said, "Well, your face never designed a six-figure ad campaign." She rolled her eyes, but I caught the edge of annoyance. As months went on, her obsession with engagement got louder. She'd talk to me in percentages. My engagement rate dipped 2 points, or the algorithm hates me this week. I started to feel like her boyfriend production assistant. Every trip turned into a content marathon. We weren't just traveling anymore, we were filming traveling. One night, we were at this rooftop restaurant downtown. City lights, quiet music, actually romantic for once. I thought we'd have a normal date. No cameras, no posing. Halfway through the meal, she said, "Hey, after dessert, can you pretend we're arguing, like a serious argument? Then I'll post a reel about how we overcame it and got stronger." I just stared at her. "You want me to fake a fight for likes?" I asked. She nodded, totally serious. People love vulnerability. I leaned back and said, "Should I fake cry too? Maybe throw in a dramatic breakup and an apology video while we're at it." She didn't even get the sarcasm. She actually said, "OMG, if you do that, it would probably go viral." That's when I realized she wasn't joking. Our relationship slowly turned into a PR campaign. She'd angle her phone just right when we kissed, then post something like, "Love is when two creatives grow together." Her followers would flood the comments with couple goals, and she'd glow for hours afterward. It was like dopamine on demand. Every compliment from a stranger was fuel. She'd say things like, "You have no idea how lucky you are to be part of this. We're inspiring people." Inspiring. We were arguing over hashtags. The only thing I was inspiring was patience. The weirdest part was how convincing she was, online. She'd post pictures of us laughing, writing captions like, "Find someone who makes you forget to check your phone." Except she was the one who couldn't stop checking it. Sometimes I'd scroll through the comments and see people writing, "I want a love like yours." But I almost replied once, "You can have it, but you'll need a ring light and a fake smile." By year 2, the cracks were obvious. Real conversations got replaced with content opportunities. She'd measure how much she loved me by how well our couple posts performed. We'd go to bed and she'd scroll her analytics until 2 a.m. I'd try to talk, but she'd mumble, "Hold on, babe. I'm responding to followers." It was like living with two versions of her. Bianca, my girlfriend, and Bianca Trademark, the influencer brand. The brand was winning. Still, I told myself it was just a phase. Everyone gets lost in their work sometimes, right? I figured the next big trip would reset things. We got invited to a brand-sponsored getaway in Bice. 6 influencers and their partners. A dream trip, beaches and clear water. Everything paid for. I thought maybe being away from LA, surrounded by nature, could bring the real her back. The week before the trip, I told her, "Let's actually enjoy this one. No non-stop shooting, no fake couple shots, just us." She smiled, kissed my cheek, and said, "Of course, babe. It's about us." Then I noticed she'd already packed 2 ring lights, 4 bikinis still with tags, and her drone. I laughed and said, "Guess the us you meant comes with a production crew." She rolled her eyes. "You're so negative. Why can't you just support my career?" That night, she posted a photo of us with the caption, "My rock, my creative partner, my forever travel buddy." And for some reason, that one hit harder than the others, because I realized she wasn't lying, not about the creative partner part anyway. I was the unpaid intern in her brand, and she was the CEO of Make Believe. And all I could think was, if only they knew. Still, I went to Buys. Because part of me, the stupid part, still believed there was something worth saving under all the filters and captions. The resort in Bice looked like a travel brochure had come to life. White sand, water so clear it looked fake. Staff in matching uniforms greeting everyone with fruit drinks and smiles. The next morning, the brand introduced everyone to Landon, a freelance PR coordinator contracted for the trip. 20-something, the kind of guy who introduces himself with his Instagram handle first. Hey guys, I'm Landon. I'll be managing content schedules and helping with logistics. Translation, he'd spend the week babysitting influencers. Bianca's eyes lit up like she'd met a celebrity. I swear I saw her posture change, suddenly standing taller, flipping her hair, laughing a little louder. Landon complimented her outfit immediately. You've got great angles, he said while adjusting her camera tripod. I raised a brow and muttered, yeah, she practices in the mirror daily. He laughed, probably thinking I was joking. By lunch, I noticed Landon orbiting Bianca more than anyone else. He'd carry her bag, fix her lighting, and stand just a little too close. She didn't push him away. She fed off the attention. I tried to play it cool. I wasn't about to be the jealous boyfriend in a group full of cameras, but I watched every time she laughed at one of his dumb jokes. That same laugh I used to love. It felt rehearsed, like she was auditioning for a new CO star. That afternoon, we headed to a private beach for a sunset shoot. Authentic lifestyle moments, according to the itinerary. Everyone started filming. I sat under a palm tree, editing photos from earlier, trying to stay out of the circus. Then I heard it, Bianca's loud laugh echoing over the waves, that specific pitch she used when she wanted to be noticed. I looked up and saw Landon standing way too close behind her, holding a bottle of sunscreen like it was some kind of audition. Bianca tilted her head back, grinning up at him, while he rubbed it on her shoulders like they were shooting a skincare commercial. I stood up, walked straight toward them. What the hell are you doing? I said, not yelling, just firm enough that everyone nearby went quiet. Bianca turned, pretending to act confused. Relax, Ashton, he's just helping. You're overreacting again, I said, crossing my arms, because clearly you needed a PR guy to handle basic sun protection. Landon took a small step back, awkward grin forming. Hey man, it's just sunscreen. Yeah, I caught that, I cut in. Maybe try applying it to someone single next time. She snapped, louder this time. If you can't handle me having some fun, then go home. Everything froze for a second. Even Landon looked uncomfortable now, like he wished he'd taken a different gig. I took a slow step closer to her. Fun? I said. You call letting some guy rub you down in front of half the group fun? Got it. Guess I didn't read the new definition. She rolled her eyes, trying to act unbothered, but her jaw was tense. I grabbed my towel from the sand and said, You want to play couples for the cameras? Be my guest. Just don't expect me to stick around for the rerun. Then I looked at Landon. Do yourself a favor, man. Keep it professional or you'll end up in her next apology video. Back at the resort, I packed while she was still out with the group. My phone buzzed nonstop. Group chat notifications, a text from her saying, You're acting crazy, don't make this trip awkward. I ignored all of it. When she finally walked in, her tone was sharp before the door even closed. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. Do you even realize how unprofessional that looked? I laughed. Unprofessional? You just told me to go home in front of a crowd because some guy touched your shoulder. She exhaled loudly and said, If you leave, you're proving everyone right, that you can't handle me. Maybe I just don't want to handle you anymore. That shut her up. She stared at me like she couldn't believe I was serious. I zipped my suitcase, grabbed my laptop bag, and walked toward the door. Relax, I said, half smiling. Think of it as brand separation. You'll get sympathy clicks. She scoffed. You're not funny. I'm hilarious, I said, walking out. You just stopped noticing. I spent the next hour at the lobby computer booking a red-eye flight one way. My hands were steady, no hesitation this time. When the confirmation hit my inbox, I felt something loosen in my chest, like I'd been holding my breath for years. Back in the room, I left a note on the nightstand. You wanted me to go home. I'm just listening. I landed in LA just after sunrise. I turned my phone on while waiting for my bag and the screen exploded. 47 missed calls, 32 unread messages, and about a dozen group chat notifications. Bianca's name was all over the screen. We need to talk. You're ruining this trip. Everyone thinks you're crazy. It went on and on. Same tone, same deflection. Never a single I'm sorry. I muted everything and drove home. No music, no distractions. Just the sound of my thoughts trying to make sense of what had happened. That night while unpacking, I got a text from a friend who worked in marketing. Dude, have you seen this? He sent a link. It was a video from the beach. Me walking away while Bianca shouted, If you can't handle me having some fun, then go home. The caption said, When your boyfriend can't handle your success. Someone from the trip had posted it, probably thought it was funny. By the time I clicked the comments, it had already blown up. Hundreds of people were arguing under it. So now cheating is called having fun. She sounds insufferable. Imagine humiliating your man in public and calling it empowerment. I scrolled, watching her perfect image crack in real time. Her followers weren't defending her, they were calling her out. A few even tagged me asking if I was okay. I didn't respond. Not yet. I wasn't going to rant or whine. I'd spent too long being quiet, but this time I was going to speak once and let the truth do the work. The next day, I opened my laptop, typed out a short post, and hit share. Every video you've ever seen of us was staged. Every authentic moment was rehearsed, directed, edited, and filtered. I wasn't a partner, I was production. She doesn't live a real life. She lives a parasocial one where strangers' opinions mean more than actual people. I walked away because I refused to be part of someone's content strategy. Respect is quiet, disrespect is loud. That was it. No hashtags, no drama, just the truth. Within hours, it started spreading. Screenshots, reposts, reaction videos. People called it the most composed breakup statement ever. Some guy on Twitter even said he handled that like a CEO firing an intern. I didn't laugh, but it felt accurate. By nightfall, Bianca's comment section was chaos. She tried to do damage control. I could tell because a few mutuals texted me saying she was spinning the story, saying I'd been controlling, insecure, jealous of her career, but the internet wasn't buying it. Someone from the Bice group leaked screenshots from the group chat where she joked about keeping me around until the next campaign. That one hurt, not because I didn't expect it, but because of how casual it was, like I was an old phone she planned to upgrade soon. I stayed silent after that. My post had said everything. Anything more would have made me look like I cared, and I didn't. Not anymore. 2 days later, a journalist emailed asking for a quote. I declined. The story was already writing itself. Headlines like, "Influencer loses brand deal after publicly mocking boyfriend." I didn't need to add commentary. The truth was on loop, and the internet doesn't stop replaying what it loves to hate. Still, it felt strange. I wasn't proud. It wasn't revenge. It was exposure. The mask just fell off and everyone finally saw what I'd been dealing with. On day 4, Bianca posted a story. Black screen, white text. "I'm taking time to heal. Please respect my privacy." 15 minutes later, someone recorded it and uploaded it under the title, "She only wants privacy when she's losing." Brutal but fair. The people who used to call her inspirational now called her manipulative. Her boss babe fans turned into critics overnight. By the end of the week, the video that started it all hit 10 million views. Reaction videos, duets, breakdowns. Everyone analyzing a moment I tried to forget. Some made jokes, others called it a lesson in self-respect. I just kept scrolling until I couldn't stand it anymore and shut it off. That night, I went to bed early for the first time in months. No arguments, no ring lights, no fake captions, just peace. I thought about how many times I'd let things slide because I didn't want to cause a scene. How often I'd been quiet to keep the brand alive. But actually walking away said more than any caption ever could. Bianca's empire was falling apart. Mine was finally being built. By the end of the week, the internet looked like a demolition site with her name on every headline. Brand accounts that used to comment, "We love working with you," quietly deleted old collabs. A luggage company dropped her mid-campaign. A skincare brand paused partnerships pending review. Translation, goodbye forever. I didn't celebrate. I just watched, detached. It was like seeing a storm from a distance. Loud, messy, but no longer touching me. Then the screenshots hit. An influencer friend of hers wanting to ride the wave leaked a private chat with her. There it was in her own words. "He's too sensitive for this industry. I have to babysit his emotions. Another Landon actually understands me. Ashton's just average." The internet didn't take it well. Comment sections exploded. Imagine humiliating your partner publicly and privately. Babysit his emotions, girl. He babysat your entire career. So, Landon understands her. Looks like he understands regret now. The flirty tone in her messages to Landon was hard to ignore. Inside jokes, heart emojis, and one line that made her look finished. "At least you appreciate me, unlike some people." Landon tried to save face. He posted a long story, a black screen with white text like every fake apology starts. There was no wrongdoing. Things were taken out of context. "Please stop harassing Bianca." Within an hour, someone leaked his DMs. Screenshots of him bragging to a friend that Bianca is totally into me. The friend replied, "You know she's in a relationship, right?" Landon's answer, "Not for long." That was it. Instant career suicide. His PR clients dropped him and Bianca's last supporter turned into another liability. Meanwhile, my inbox was blowing up. Design agencies, outdoor brands, lifestyle companies, all suddenly remembering I existed. They wanted to collaborate, sponsor, consult. One message stood out from a well-known apparel brand. "We've followed your work for a while. Your composure through everything says a lot about your professionalism. Let's talk." I laughed when I read that. Funny how staying calm made people think you were some kind of monk. I wasn't zen, I was just done. That same night, I got a string of messages from Bianca. Not the fake PR ones. These were pure panic. "You have to delete your post. You're destroying everything I built. You don't know what this is doing to me. I can't get work because of you." Then the big one. "You're ruining my life." I stared at the screen for a while, thumb hovering over reply. Then I locked my phone and went back to work on a new logo for a surf brand. She wanted me to feel responsible, but I wasn't. I hadn't ruined anything. She had. A few hours later, another notification popped up. "Bianca again." A long paragraph this time, all over the place. Blame, guilt, begging. She said I'd turned the internet against her, that people were harassing her nonstop. She said she'd built her name from nothing, that I should know what that feels like. She was right about one thing. I did know what that felt like. The difference was I built mine on work, not pretending. I typed back 3 words. This isn't my fault. Then I muted the chat and never opened her messages again. The next few days were a blur of chaos. Her crying live on camera, deleting it 5 minutes later, re-uploading a clarification, then deleting that too. Every time she tried to explain herself, she dug the hole deeper. Her followers were dropping by the thousands daily. One influencer gossip page made a side-by-side post, her saying, "If you can handle me having fun, then go home," next to me, quietly packing my bags. Caption, she told him to go home. He did. Now she's homeless career-wise. Brutal, but the internet doesn't pull punches. Through it all, I kept my distance. No posts, no interviews. I didn't engage in the drama, didn't comment on anything, didn't even like the supportive post tagging me. My silence became its own statement. People said I was being classy, that I took the high road. Truth, I just didn't want to feed the noise. One night, while finishing a client mock-up, I scrolled past an article titled "The Fall of the Perfect Couple Brand." It had photos of us smiling on beaches, laughing on rooftops, fake moments she'd staged for years. The author wrote, "Turns out perfection doesn't survive sunlight." I shut the laptop and sat there for a minute. There was no satisfaction in any of it. Watching her fall didn't feel like victory. It just confirmed what I'd already known. The whole thing had been built on lies, and lies don't last long under pressure. My life had gotten quieter, cleaner. I had real clients, real projects, real people to talk to again. No filters, no ring lights, no pretending. Bianca's world was burning down online while mine was finally starting to grow. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. I just worked because I finally understood something simple. Walking away wasn't revenge, it was self-respect. And watching everything unfold now, it didn't feel satisfying. It just felt right. A few days after the chaos peaked, I got an unexpected email. Subject line from Bianca's parents. For a second, I almost deleted it, assuming it was another attempt to guilt-trip me. But when I opened it, it was short, polite, and strangely genuine. "Ashton, we wanted to personally apologize for what our daughter did. We've watched everything play out, and we're ashamed of how she treated you. We never supported her influencer lifestyle. She once tried to involve us in her videos, and we refused. It's not who we are. You didn't deserve this, Mark and Diane. It caught me off guard." For years, Bianca had painted them as these judgmental, controlling people who didn't understand creativity. Turns out they just had boundaries, something she couldn't stand. I replied simply, "Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it." It felt like closure, finally. The first decent human thing to come out of that entire mess. For a couple of days, things actually seemed calm. My new clients were steady. I was getting praise for my design work, and people online had started shifting focus to the next internet scandal. I thought maybe, just maybe, I could close the chapter for good. But peace never lasts long when the internet's involved. It started small. A few random comments under my posts. "You're a liar. Stop playing the victim." Then came the DMs, hundreds of them. Some were obvious trolls, others full-on angry paragraphs accusing me of destroying a woman's career. One message said, "If you were a real man, you'd apologize to her." Another, "She helped you, and you repaid her with humiliation." At first I ignored it. I dealt with worse, but it kept building. Whole threads on Reddit, videos on TikTok twisting my words, edited clips showing Bianca crying with dramatic music, and captions like, "He broke her for views." They took snippets of my calm post and edited it over footage of her pretending to cry, turning it into some cinematic tragedy where I was the villain. One fan account posted, "He manipulated her for clout." The irony made me laugh, but it still got under my skin. My inbox filled up with death threats. People saying they knew where I worked, that I should watch my back. I wasn't scared, just tired. Every ping of my phone felt like another reminder that online mobs don't need proof, just something to scream about. I filed a few reports, blocked what I could, and kept my distance from social media. Clients noticed the uptick in attention, and a few asked if I was okay. I told them I was, because professionally I was fine, but personally it was draining. I caught myself checking my messages more often just to make sure nothing new popped up. It's weird. You can be confident and self-assured, but after the 100th stranger calls you manipulative, it sticks in your head for a second before you shake it off. Then, like clockwork, Bianca tried to control the narrative again. She dropped an apology video. This time, it wasn't the usual black screen, just her sitting on the floor, a tissue box in frame, dim yellow lamp behind her, trying to look raw and authentic. Classic "I'm just being real" setup. She started with, "Hey guys, I wasn't planning on posting this, but I can't stay silent anymore," which everyone knows means, "I planned this for hours." She talked about how the internet twisted things, how she lost herself under pressure, how she never meant to hurt anyone. The comment section filled instantly. You're only sorry because you got caught. Cry somewhere else. Girl, you humiliated him on camera. Own it. Even her fans weren't buying it this time. Some pointed out how she looked off screen to read notes. Others compared the lighting to her sponsored videos. The word performative popped up in nearly every thread. I didn't watch the whole thing. I didn't need to. It was the same pattern. Act hurt, play victim, and hope the algorithm forgives you. But this time, people didn't. My phone blew up again. Not with hate, but praise. Ashton handled that better than any guy I know. Dude didn't say a word and still came out on top. King behavior. I scrolled through it, shaking my head. It was surreal, being rewarded for doing nothing. All I'd done was refuse to engage, and somehow that made me a symbol of emotional intelligence and male composure. The truth is, I was tired. Not from work, not from hate, but from the constant noise that came with being attached to someone who treated drama like oxygen. I was done defending myself, done reacting, done explaining. Bianca could chase sympathy, hashtags, and redemption arcs all she wanted. I had something better. Peace. It was a Wednesday afternoon, a normal work day. I was in my studio finishing a design pitch for a coffee brand when someone started knocking hard on the door. Not polite taps, pounding. I opened it, and there she was. Bianca, no makeup, oversized hoodie, hair tied up in a half bun that looked more like she'd given up halfway through fixing it. She looked nothing like the person I'd seen in glossy features or perfectly lit photos. Her eyes were red, her face puffy. "Ashton," she said, voice shaking. "Please, I just need 10 minutes. For a second, I didn't say anything. I just stared. She looked wrecked, genuinely wrecked. Not influencer sad face, wrecked, human wrecked. I stepped aside. 10 minutes, I said. She came in, looked around the studio like she didn't know where she was the last time she'd been here. She'd told me to replace the lighting because it wasn't aesthetic. Now she sat on the edge of the couch, hands shaking. "I lost everything," she said. "All of it. Sponsors, my apartment, even people I thought were my friends. Nobody calls anymore. I'm radioactive. You can't even imagine." "I can imagine," I interrupted, keeping my voice flat. "You built your life on people's opinions. When they change, everything collapses." She didn't argue. For once, she actually listened. Her eyes filled up. "You think I don't know that now? I wake up every day and I don't even know who I am. I can't post, can't show my face, can't go online without being called fake." I leaned against my desk. "That's because you spent 3 years teaching people you were a brand, not a person. They didn't love you, Bianca. They loved the version of you they could consume." She rubbed her face. "I know, I didn't mean to lose you in all of it." I didn't respond. I didn't trust her words anymore. She looked up, eyes searching mine. "You have no idea how much I miss you. I keep thinking if you just talked to me, if you hadn't walked away that day." "Stop," I said, raising a hand. "You told me to go home in front of a crowd. That wasn't a slip. That was who you were." She stood up suddenly, voice rising. "Because I wanted you to fight for me. You just left. You didn't even yell or argue. You just walked away like I didn't matter." Her voice cracked. Tears started rolling. "I stayed still. You wanted me to fight for you," I said. "Love isn't a contest. You don't test people by humiliating them." She shook her head, pacing. "You don't understand. That trip, everything, the stress, the pressure. I wasn't thinking clearly. You were supposed to know me better than that." I crossed my arms. "I did. That's why I left." She stopped moving. The silence stretched. Then something in her broke. She started crying. Not influencer tears, not sad girl aesthetic crying. Full-on ugly sobbing, shoulders shaking, gasping for breath. She tried to speak, but it came out between sobs. "I loved you. I really did. I just didn't know how to do it right." I grabbed a box of tissues off the desk and placed it next to her. "Yeah," I said quietly. "You didn't." She looked up, tears streaming, mascara running even though she hadn't worn much. "You could at least say you loved me too." "I did," I said. "And that's exactly why I won't do it again." That broke her. She covered her face, shaking her head. "You don't mean that. You're just angry." "I'm not angry," I said firmly. "I'm done. There's a difference." She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. The Bianca I'd known would have kept performing. Dramatic exit, guilt-tripping speech, something to control the moment, but she didn't. She just stood there defeated. "You could fix this," she said softly. "If you posted something, told people we're okay, I could rebuild." I stared at her. "You're still thinking in views and followers. You lost me years ago to that mindset. I'm not going back." Her breathing got heavier. "So that's it. You're just done." "Yeah," I said. "I'm finally done." She let out a shaky laugh, half cry, half scream. "You'll regret this. One day you'll realize I was the best thing that ever happened to you. I opened the door. If you were the best thing, I'd still be miserable." Her jaw tightened. She looked like she wanted to yell again, but instead she just grabbed her bag, wiped her face, and walked out. No dramatic goodbye, no slow-motion turn, just silence and the sound of the door closing. I stood there for a few seconds, then went back to my desk. My coffee had gone cold. I took a sip anyway. Later that night, my phone buzzed nonstop again, but this time it wasn't hate, it was tags. Someone had posted a clip from an old interview I did where I said, "Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is leave quietly." People were reposting it with a new hashtag #GoHomeEnergy. It started trending within hours. TikTok edits, Twitter threads, Instagram captions. People used it to describe walking away from toxic jobs, relationships, or anything that drained them. My name started floating around again. Articles calling me the guy who walked away instead of fighting to stay. It was strange seeing it spread, but this time it didn't feel heavy. No noise, no chaos, just a message people actually understood. For the first time in years, I wasn't the one holding a camera, fixing lighting, or managing someone else's image. I was just living. And standing there in my quiet studio, lights off, computer humming, I finally felt it. Not relief, not revenge. Freedom. Months passed like a reset button had been hit on my life. No drama, no constant notifications, no pretending to be someone's supporting act. Just quiet work, progress, and peace. My design business took off faster than I expected. The #GoHomeEnergy wave hadn't just been a trend. It turned into something real. Companies liked the idea of working with someone who didn't chase chaos. Nonprofits reached out for branding help, saying they connected with my story. I started running weekend workshops for young designers, teaching them how to build careers without selling their souls online. It was the kind of life I'd always wanted. Simple, real, balanced. I moved into a bigger studio, open layout, warm lighting, clean walls, a small section for the workshops. Most days started early and ended late, but it was the good kind of busy. My phone wasn't a battlefield anymore, just clients, projects, and friends. Then one night, peace got interrupted. It was a Thursday. I'd been out having dinner with a few design students after class. Nothing fancy, just pizza and jokes. When I got back to my studio around 10 p.m., something felt off the second I parked. The front lights were off, even though I always left one on. When I pushed the door open, my stomach dropped. The place was wrecked. Desks flipped over, paint cans spilled, my posters ripped from the walls. My computer monitor smashed on the floor and in huge red spray paint across the back wall, written in angry, uneven letters, "Bianca is a victim." I froze for a second, just staring at it. The smell of paint and destruction filled the air. Then I noticed something else, my security camera blinking in the corner, still recording. I didn't touch anything. I called the police. They showed up within 20 minutes. 2 officers who looked both shocked and annoyed. I explained what happened, pulled up the camera feed on my phone, and handed it over. The footage was clear. 3 guys, maybe early 20s, wearing hoodies. They broke in through the side door around 9:15, trashed everything for about 10 minutes, then ran off. The weird part, they weren't random. I recognized one of their faces. Same guy who'd been spamming my comments with threats ever since the Bice video blew up. The cops noted everything, took photos, bagged the paint can they left behind. One of them said, "This looks personal. Anyone with a grudge?" I sighed. "Yeah, her name's Bianca." The officer raised an eyebrow. "The influencer?" "Former influencer," I said. "And apparently still dramatic. They asked if I wanted to press charges if they found who did it. I said yes." The next day, they called me back. They had already caught 2 of the guys. One had tagged himself near my studio earlier that evening. The genius forgot to turn off location services. When they brought them in, both cracked almost immediately. They said they were defending Bianca's honor. I thought that was a joke until the detective told me the rest. Bianca herself had messaged them. She'd told them I'd ruined her life, that I'd lied about her to the media, and that they should teach him a lesson. It didn't take long for screenshots to surface. The messages were real. She'd sent them from a backup account she'd been using to talk to her small group of supporters. By the weekend, the news broke. Disgraced influencer under investigation after fans vandalize ex-boyfriend's studio. The internet went nuclear again. She never learns. How do you go from apology videos to criminal charges? Teach him a lesson. You mean prove his point? She released a statement through a lawyer denying it at first. Then the screenshots came out, the exact words. The usernames matched. It was over. Bianca was investigated and later charged in connection with the vandalism, alleged incitement and conspiracy to damage property. The guys who did it got arrested, fined, and banned from contacting either of us again. Her short-lived redemption era ended in a week. Sponsors who were considering letting her back quietly stepped away again. I didn't post about it, didn't comment, didn't even text anyone about it. I just called a cleaning company, got the wall repainted, and replaced my equipment. By the next Monday, the studio looked brand new again, cleaner than before actually. I added a security gate, changed the locks, and went straight back to work. My students noticed the smell of fresh paint and asked what happened. I said just needed a color change. They didn't need to know the rest. The story blew over after a few weeks, like everything online eventually does. Bianca's name disappeared from trending pages again. No more drama, no more fanboys, no more chaos, just silence. One afternoon, I stood in the middle of the studio after finishing a project. The sunlight coming through the windows, the hum of my computer, everything calm again. For the first time, I felt untouchable. Not in an arrogant way, just free from anything fake. Bianca's world was finally gone for good. Mine was just getting started. I looked at the new wall, clean, white, untouched. The red spray paint was gone, but a faint shadow still showed through the layers like a reminder. Not bitterness, not anger, just proof. Proof that peace isn't about things staying quiet. It's about knowing you can rebuild after someone tries to destroy you. I turned off the lights, locked up, and stepped outside. The city air was cool, quiet still. My phone buzzed once. A client confirming a new campaign. I smiled, slipped the phone back into my pocket, and started walking home. No followers, no cameras, no fake image to maintain, just me. Free.